Hello, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and this is episode 40 of my Billionaire Minecraft series where I will collect 1 billion iron ingots, gold ingots, diamonds, and emeralds using the All the Mods 6 mod pack in modded Minecraft 1.16. In today's episode, I am going to be diving into the mod Powah, and that is because I need to generate more power at my ore processing base because my current reactor, heat exchanger, and turbine setup is pretty much maxed out. So let's get started. So to make a lot of the things in the mod Powah, we need a setup with an energizing orb and some energizing rods. So I've actually been working to try to figure out how to make an automatic system, and I think I have a way to do this. So let's get started. So the energizing orb here is an item or a block that you actually put different things into actually craft with. However, you also need energy and these energizing rods to do so. So let's take a look at some of the things that we can craft with the energizing orb. Sorry. So if we just right click on it, we can see some of the things right here. The main things that we're going to be making are blazing crystal blocks, niotic crystal blocks, energized steel blocks, and let's see, spirited crystal blocks. I already said blazing crystals, and then the nitro crystals. I think there might be a few other things as well, but as we can see, we need different items in here as well as energy. And so in preparation for this episode, I was actually tinkering around. So I do have a bunch of this energized steel already. Energized steel is pretty easy to make. To make energized steel, you just need a block of iron and a block of gold. And then with these blocks, you can make them into the ingots. So I'm actually going to be setting up all of my crafts today to be making the blocks rather than the individuals. And then I can just have my system auto-craft the blocks into the individual items, just to make it a little bit quicker on my system here. So the first thing that I need to do is to actually get a runnable system is I need to set up these energizing rods. So you actually just set these on top of conduits, and you can use the Powah conduits because the mod Powah actually has its own conduits. But yeah, I already have these conduits in my system, and I have lots of them made. So I'm going to use the mechanism conduits. So if we look at the mod Powah, we actually have a lot of the different tiers of these energizing rods. And basically, if you look at the tooltips up here in the upper right hand corner of the screen, you can see that we have the starter, basic, hardened, blazing, niotic, spirited, and then finally the nitro tier. And as you can see, the max IO actually goes up and up until the nitro tier here. So right now I actually have the third tier, and like I said, I was messing with this system off camera trying to figure out how to automate this, and that's how I got my energized or my block of energized steel. And so that's how I actually made these energized rods here. So to make the hardened capacitors, we need the energized steel for that, so on and so forth. The rest of it is actually, for the most part, fairly easy to make. And I have my system already able to autocraft a lot of this stuff. So like the dielectric paste and some of the other things as well. So let's go ahead and get this system runnable, and then I can go ahead and automate it. So to get the system ready to go, we need to do something like this. And there we go. This should be a runnable system. So for example, if I want to make a block of the, I think, niotic crystal, I just put a block of diamond in here, and then it should start like this. And if we look at the bottom middle of the screen, it says how much energy it has and how much energy it needs to go. So right now it's only at 9%, 10%, so on and so forth. Okay, so the way I would like to automate this is I would like to just put an ME interface next to the energizing orb, and click this button right here, which says do not push crafting items in if inventory contains items. So I believe that the refined storage mod actually does a better job with this in compatibility with the mod Powah anyways. I believe it's a little easier to automate. However, using this mode with the ME interface, as far as I can tell, will not allow you to only input one item at it or one craft at a time. So let's go ahead and actually test that out real fast. So let's grab some more of the purple covered ME cable. So let's grab a little bit of that. And I've actually tested it just using from the side. So actually I do want to test with the ME interface directly over the Energizing Orb. So let's grab another Energizing Orb, and I should have these automated, or I already have several of them made because I was tinkering around. So if I do this, and then let's make a pattern, and actually making these patterns are really easy because we can just go over to the pattern terminal and say let's say we want to make the niotic crystals here. So we can actually just use this and hit the plus button, and there we go. So now I have a pattern for that, and let's run over here. And actually, you know what? This might actually work because it can't throw in 8 items. The Energizing Orb can actually only hold 6 things at a time. So if I go ahead and put 6 potatoes in there, you see it won't allow me to add more. So this might actually work. That's not niotic. It's the shoot. I already forget what it's called. The nitro crystal. So actually I made some, and let's tell it to make a lot of these. I don't have an, okay, so I can only tell it to make a little bit of these. So yeah, as you can see, it tried to push in too many items into here. So, oh, I didn't even have that in the right mode. So let's try this one more time. So I actually need to clear out all of the items. Not sure why it's not allowing me to right click them out. Anyways, I should be able to just break it and replace it. Try this again. So I do have this in the correct mode, which would be the blocking mode here. Let's throw these items back into the ME system. Let's try to do this one more time. So these are made in, wait, what am I missing? Oh, it's there. I don't know why that happened. Anyways, let's try to make 2 sets of these because they come in sets of 16. And as we can see, yeah, it tried to overstuff this again. So yeah. So this doesn't work. However, there is a way to do this, and I've come up with a system that works. It's not going to be the prettiest thing, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to have 3 different ME interfaces, and I'm actually going to put them all in the blocking mode, and then I'm going to add chests to each one, or beside each one. So let's do that. And so basically, when I put a pattern into the ME interface, it's going to push the items into a chest. And so this blocking mode does work with chests. Obviously, chests are the most elementary thing that you can have for crafting. So let's go ahead and tell this to make the niotic crystals again. And I don't know where that pattern just went. Oh, it's in my inventory, isn't it? So if I throw the pattern in here and tell it to make niotic crystals, and actually I can only do 30, it should only add the necessary ingredients for 1 craft at a time, which is exactly what I want to see. So let's go ahead and cancel that, because obviously we're not making that just yet. Let's throw the items back into the ME interface here. And then what I want to do is I want to add these logistical sorters here. So what logistical sorters are, they're basically like item pipes, except they operate just a little bit differently. So I actually have these already set up with some of the things that I want to filter. So that one actually doesn't go there. Yes, this one works here. And then let's see if this one, that's still the wrong one. That one is going to go in the back there, and then this one will go right here. So if we can see here, I actually already have some of the setups. So blaze mesh is one of the things. So let's grab a block of diamond, because I do want to set up a pattern to make the niotic crystals. And actually, let's grab this out because this is done. So basically, diamond is going to make this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a filter. We're going to hit item stack here, and we are going to tell it to insert blocks of diamonds. So that should be a valid thing that we can do. And let's go ahead and set up a recipe for this. So the recipe is going to be pretty basic. It's going to be a block of diamond, and actually I don't know if that matters, but I'm going to put it in this location here, and then we're going to make a pattern like so. And then along with that, I also want to do this pattern as well, and I can just throw this pattern into my system here, and then this pattern over here can come with me, and that's going to go right here. So a couple of things here with the logistical sorters. They typically come when you make them. They craft with the redstone detection set to ignored. I actually have these set to inverted. So basically, anytime that they have a redstone signal, they will not send things through. However, if they do have a redstone signal, no, hang on, I just reversed that, or did I reverse it? Anyways, if they have a redstone signal, they will not send things through. If they don't have a redstone signal, they will send things through. So that's how I have them set up redstone wise, and I'm going to be using redstone to actually work this system. So if we take a look here and put a redstone comparator, because the Energizing Orb is compatible with a redstone comparator, and we lay down some redstone here, we can actually figure out a few things here. So if I put in one item, it gives us a power of 1. If I put in 2, it gives us a power of 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. So I'm actually going to be using that today. And let's grab all these potatoes out, because obviously I'm not going to be using them. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to set up 3 different sets of redstone here based off of this comparator to control each logistical sorter, so that too many items aren't added. So right now, if I were to actually tell my system to make a bunch of niotic crystals, let's tell it to make 6, for example, it would go ahead and push those through. And this is not a valid craft, so that would not work. So what I want to do is basically when one item is in here, I'm going to shut this particular logistical sorter off. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to set up a repeater here, and then a repeater. I would do a repeater here. However, I don't want this redstone dust right here. Say if I was to set something like this up, I don't want that to happen. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put my repeater right here, and I'm actually going to just put a block right here because the redstone signal can go through. So that should work just great. So let's go ahead and tell my system to make more niotic crystals. So let's tell it to make 5 this time. And what should happen, and what did happen, is that once one item was in here, this repeater had a signal of 1, which got to this, or this comparator rather, had a signal of 1, which got to this repeater, which sent a redstone signal through these repeaters and through this block to this logistical sorter, and now it stopped sending items from this chest over here. So the reason why I have the blocking mode on is that so I don't have a bunch of items in these chests that don't need to be. So on this particular one, basically each ME interface is going to be for different sets of crafts. So this ME interface is going to have crafts that only take 1 input item. This one is going to be for crafts that take 2 input items, and then this one is going to be for crafts that take 4 input items. Because out of the primary things that I need to craft with this system, it's 1, 2, or 4. So that's why I have the 3 different chests here, in case you were wondering. So yeah, let's go ahead and start setting up some more stuff here. So this one needs to allow 2 items through. And actually, let's just go ahead and cancel the rest of that. My cat's going crazy, my goodness. So what I want to do now is I want to set up 2 pieces of redstone dust and then a repeater. So this is super simple. It's just that right there, and that will work. So basically, this chest will allow 2 items through, and then it will shut, or this logistical sorter will allow 2 items through, and then it will shut off. So if I were to tell this particular system, so actually I want to set up a recipe for that. So that's going to be for energized steel in particular. So let's take a look at the recipe here, and to make 2 blocks of energized steel, I need oh, that's the wrong one. So it's this recipe right here. So you can see it's 1 block of iron and 1 block of gold. If I did not have this in blocking mode, it would send through a bunch of iron and a bunch of gold all at the same time into this chest. And the fear is that instead of sending 1 gold block and 1 iron block into the energizing orb, it would just send 2 gold blocks or 2 iron blocks, which would not work. So, oh yeah, there's another thing I want to set up here. And I need to get the items out of the energizing orb and into my ME system, and that's actually really easy. I can just set up some ultimate logistical pipe here, and I accidentally broke some glass, but that's okay. So all I need to do is just tell this to extract, and it works like so. And as you can see, the next craft from this chest started. So I actually canceled the rest of it, but it did have that block of diamond already in that chest, so that's why it restarted. So let's actually grab that block of diamond out. I'm done with that for now. So let's actually try to make some energized steel. And this stuff will craft up really fast because it doesn't take a lot of energy to do. So let's do 6. So that should be 3 different crafts here. And as we can see, it allowed 2 items through and then it stopped. So that's exactly what we wanted to see, and that is fantastic. So the last little system back here is for 4 items. So basically I need to have 4 redstone dust and then a repeater. And so basically there we go. Let's add a repeater. And actually I'm going to change how I routed that, because I want to actually have that repeater there. So there we go. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then once it gets a redstone signal of 4, it will reach that repeater. And then we're going to send a signal, same as the other systems, to this logistical sorter right here. So there we go. And did I already set up that particular craft? I did. So the nitro crystals. So let's go ahead and tell my system to make some nitro crystals. So it should allow 4 items through and then stop, like so. And that is perfect. And we can see the next craft is ready to go. The thing is, this particular craft takes a lot of power. We're only at 1% right now. So I'm actually not going to finish this craft. I just wanted to make sure that it was going to work. So let's go ahead and cancel that and pull the items out of the chest. And then we can pull the items out of here manually. So this system should work. There is one complication though, and one reason why it's not going to be a perfect system. It will be something that I need to keep an eye on, and that is because if I tell it to make a craft that would be 1 item input, and then another craft that takes, say, 4 items input, once the initial craft got done with whatever I told it to make first, it would then insert 1 item from here, and then this one would stop. However, in the meantime, this one would still be inserting its 4 items. So therefore, 5 items would end up in the energizing orb, and that would be no bueno. So actually, I can show you exactly what I mean by that. So let's go ahead and tell it to make... let's actually find whatever is the simplest thing to make that is 1 item input, and set up a craft for that. So let's get the energizing orb, and actually it might be easier if I do it this way, because I know that I think the block of blazing crystal is going to be the thing that takes the least amount of power. Let me double check that. So 810,000, this one is, yeah, looks to be more, and that one's more yet. And this one is obviously the most, but that's not a single craft or a single block craft. So let's go ahead and set up this one. It's just going to be a 1 blaze mesh equals 1 block of blazing crystal. So that's going to be the recipe here. And let's run over here and throw this in here. That'll be right here. And I believe I already have this logistical sorter set up for that. So let's go ahead and tell it to make 2 of those. So if I also go ahead and tell it to make some of these, bad things are going to happen. Are bad things going to happen? Why did that not go? Interesting. Oh, okay, so I see. It needs to make one of these first. So we're actually going to cancel that because I actually have those in my inventory. So if I go ahead and tell it to make it now, it's going to insert items into here that should not be there. So one thing I can do is I can add a safeguard to actually prevent some of this from happening. So let's go ahead and grab these items out. And let's add a safeguard here. So what I'm going to do for my safeguard is I'm going to tell it that if there's an item in here, that this needs to not be active. So let's grab a comparator. And this still is not a perfect safeguard. There's still ways that this can not work well. So I also need to grab a repeater. And then let's add some redstone. Basically, we can shut it off through this way or shut this logistical sorter off that way. I could also do a similar thing with this or this one over here. That would be a little bit more complicated. You know what? I should be able to set this up. Actually, no. This is actually going to be somewhat complicated. So we actually need to reverse count from 15 because 15 is a full signal. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I think is correct. I need more repeaters, to be honest. So how I would do this is I'd put a repeater there, and then I could actually just straight do repeaters this way. Actually, I might be able to... No, I want it to come directly off this comparator. So how should I... Because if that also... Because I don't want to actually... You know what? It should work if I do something like this. It's gonna be just a little bit ugly, but it should work. The important thing is that this should shut off this system, and then the first part I built should shut off the this one over here. So let's see if this will work. So if I tell it to make a bunch of the block of blazing crystal. It's just for funsies. Do that. So we can see that all of the logistical sorters are turned off because there is an item in here. So if I actually go ahead and cancel the rest of these guys and then take this item out, the rest of them should be active at some point. Okay, so I definitely screwed something up somewhere. I may have miscounted from my repeater here. So 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, I counted correctly because this one is off. I wanted that one to be off. No, I counted correctly. Why is this on though? Because we're not getting a signal from over here. Maybe it's just looping. It is, isn't it? It just is a looping signal because I have repeaters. If I were to break this and put it back, it would turn off. So actually that won't work. Will it? You know what? Let's just not do this. I can just watch it. I know that the system is not perfect, and I know that I just cannot craft different things at the same time. I could craft, or I could tell it to craft all of these and never have a problem. But as soon as I start telling it to craft 2 items or 3 or 4 items along with 1 item, then I would have issues. And hopefully I'm not being too confusing there. Basically, If I limit myself to crafting from one of the ME interfaces, I should be fine, but as soon as I tell it to make a craft from like this one and then this one as well, the system will become screwed up and basically stop functioning until I manually fix it. But that's not a big problem. Let's go ahead and set the rest of the patterns, because there's actually not that many to do. There's actually only one pattern for this one, and there's actually only one pattern for this one that I want to do right now. And actually there's one or two more patterns for this one. I think it might only actually be one, and that would be the block of emeralds. And let's take a look at the mod Powah and make sure that I'm not missing anything. But I have this automated, I have the blazing crystal, I have the niotic, I need the spirited crystal, and I have the nitro crystals. Yes, and the uraninite actually comes from the dense ore, so I have lots of that, as you can see. So actually there is one thing I want to do with this, the uraninite, today, because I don't have a way to actually make it just yet, other than furnacing it. And as you can see, one block of this dense ore equals 4 of that. So let's go ahead and set this last pattern, and the pattern is going to be this. Really simple stuff. I also need a block of emerald to actually set my filter there. So let's do all this real fast. So let's put this pattern in here. Let's set the filter. Just new filter, item stack, emerald, save. Fantastic. That should all be ready to go. And so what I want to do, I actually need to make reactor blocks, and I actually have them already automated. I just obviously didn't have the blazing crystals and all of that stuff up until now. So what I'm going to do between episodes is I'm actually going to work my way up in terms of the tiers for the energizing rods here. So let's take a look at those recipes. So right now I have the hardened rods, and that's because I had plenty of the energized steel. To make the next tier, I need the blazing, and I need the blazing crystals. Basically, it's just kind of, you need the previous tier, and then you need the new tier material. And so it's pretty simple once you have this system ready to actually make all that stuff. So I am going to tell my system to make a bunch of this stuff. So let's take a look. I'm actually going to do all of the simple crystal blocks. So I'm going to do, let's say, 20 of these. Let's do 20 of these as well. And then I also want to do, let's say, 20 of these. And because, like I said, they are all made out of this ME interface right here, this system should work. I'm not going to tell it to make an energized steel, and I'm not going to go ahead and tell it to make these nitro crystals just yet. I actually have a few nitro crystals already made, just from tinkering around. But I'm going to have all that stuff craft up between episodes. It will take quite a while because, like I said, my energizing rods are the 3rd tier, which, yeah, very slow. Right now, this one is only at 10%. But the thing is, the server's on all the time, so it'll get done. One last thing I want to do in today's episode is I want to set up auto processing for this uraninite ore. So let's come down here, and I have some blank things down here. So let's come right here. Actually, right here. Nope, actually right here. And let's actually deposit all our uraninite ore into here. And that should get furnacing up. And that will basically make this. And then we can go ahead and tell the storage bus to only store that. And I'm going to set it to a positive priority. That way, any other uraninite that I might come across that I put in my ME system, it will go into this black hole unit. So that will get me what is the fuel for the reactors. The reactors need that as the fuel, and to actually make the reactors, let's take a look at the recipes just super fast to see where I'm going. The reactors are fairly simple to make. You just need these capacitors to make the different tiers here, and depending on what tier, you just need the capacitors. The rest of it is just uraninite and this dielectric casing, which is really easy to make, and I actually already have automated. So I think that's a good wrapping up point. So in today's episode, I automated the system connected to my ME system that uses the Energizing Orb from the mod Powah to actually make things. It's not a perfect system, but I know what the flaws are. I know that I can't basically mix my crafting between the 3 different ME terminals or the ME interfaces that I have here. As long as I just use one of them at a time, this system should work great. And I'm super happy about that, because otherwise I'd have to do all this crafting manually, and obviously that's not what I want to do. So hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, definitely leave a like down below. If there's anything I could have done better or differently, I know this is a little convoluted here with my redstone. Hopefully you understood exactly what I was doing with the redstone, with the 1, the 2, and then the 4 pieces of redstone before each repeater, leading to the different logistical sorters here. Yeah, totally forgot the name of the block. If there's anything I could have done better or differently, just let me know down in the comments below, as I do read all the comments. If you do enjoy watching large-scale automation in modern Minecraft, definitely consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Anyways, signing off, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and I will see you next time.